Sony introduced a new portfolio of phones earlier this year, and the Xperia X here sits right smack in the middle of the new X line in terms of specs, but not really in price. The phone does sport the new design wrapping and the new autofocus tech from Sony, but at the same time it costs just a Benjamin less than the more popular iPhone 6s choice. What does the Xperia X have to offer against Apple's finest? Watch on while we're clashing it with the iPhone 6s here. With the Xperia X, Sony doesn't take the new metal chassis trend too seriously. Granted, the phone does sport a solid metal rim, but the back is made of plastic, while the iPhone 6s flaunts an entirely metal unibody that is still slimmer and lighter. It is also more manageable in the hand, and not only because of the slightly smaller screen diagonal, but also due to the fact that the Sony phone feels like a thick, heavy slab in comparison. In addition, the volume rocker and power key on the Xperia are a tad shallow in terms of tactile feedback compared to the iPhones, and their placing is pretty uncomfortable here. Well, at least Sony's phone has a dedicated camera button, which allows you to take photos directly from a lock screen, which is neat. It also sports an LED notification light for missed calls or messages, and that's another small advantage over the iPhone. The 5-inch Xperia X and the 4.7-inch iPhone 6s both come with LCD displays that don't strive for record pixel densities, just enough for their screen sizes. As for imaging quality, the iPhone 6s has an almost spot-on color temperature and saturation, reference to the standard gamut, while Xperia X exhibits pretty cold and goldy colors, no matter which screen mode you choose, as if you have an AMOLED screen. Outdoors, it's the Sony that seems to sport the lower screen reflections though, and has very good sunlight visibility, a tad better than the iPhone. As an advantage of the 6s panel, we have to point out the 3D touch display tech that can distinguish between a light tap and a harder press, and then react accordingly. Sony is one of the few phone makers that has hardwired a double tap to both wake the phone and lock the display, but still this extra feature can't measure up to the abilities 3D touch brings. Sony put a minimalist Android screen over the Marshmallow build running on the Xperia X, with a bit of a new paintbrush over the iconography. A new twist is swiping down on an empty screen area to search for and display favorite apps, but we'd rather have this gesture bring down the notification bar instead of stretching all the way up each time we want to preview a message or toggle a switch. Apple strives for simplicity with the interface too, though iOS 10 will be introducing a host of new features like a dedicated widget screen and enhanced notifications to a vastly enhanced 3D touch options. The Xperia X has a homemade 23-megapixel camera with standard pixel size, so at least on paper we wouldn't expect wonders for such a setup. Sony, however, equipped it with a predictive hybrid autofocus tech for quicker locks and very capable digital stabilization. The camera can be launched with a dedicated 2-stage shutter key on the side, which comes in handy for quick snaps. The camera app is more minimalist than before and offers easy and quick operation with a few specialized modes that are included out of the box, and extra shooting regimes that can be downloaded through the camera app. The iPhone 6s has a 12-megapixel shooter with a smaller sensor but bigger pixels and excellent digital image stabilization too. The clean, unobtrusive interface sports all the staples like HDR shots or panorama, as well as Apple's venerable live photos. When it comes to quality, the iPhone tends to deliver warmer colors than needed, while the Xperia X does a tad colder than reality, but not to the same extent as the iPhone. As for exposition and dynamic range, the Sony phone tends to snap photos that are a step brighter than the iPhone, sometimes resulting in blow-up highlights and overexposure, especially at night. In terms of video, the iPhone has the upper hand with the ability to record 4K footage, while the Xperia X can only shoot in 1080p. Still, if you don't need a higher resolution, both handsets manage to capture excellent clips in almost all situations, with credible colors, good dynamic range, and quick exposure adjustments while panning around. However, it is in video that the new predictive hybrid autofocus system on the Xperia X really shines, with almost instantaneous continuous autofocus. The phone swaps focus back and forth without pause, almost right up there with the rapid dual pixel technology of Samsung's latest phones. We did get an overheat warning from the Sony though when we were shooting at 60 frames per second on a hot summer day, while the iPhone didn't have such thermal management issues. With its more elegant body, better camera, faster chipset and record LTE band support, the iPhone 6s seems destined to remain the popular choice compared to the Xperia X. Moreover, Sony priced its mid-ranger just $100 lower than the iPhone 6s, which wouldn't help the cause at all. The Xperia X does have some tricks up its sleeve against the 6s, like a bit better battery life and outdoor visibility, as well as faster continuous autofocus, but these might not be enough to take down the familiar refined iPhone experience. This was a video comparison between the Sony Xperia X and the Apple iPhone 6s from PhoneArena. For more information about these handsets, you can visit us at PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching.